Story 1. Something is halfway broken but not completely broken. It works in the most annoying way possible, but it is too unjustifiable to buy a new one, so you just use it annoyingly every day. Story 2-1. My body deciding it is time to use the bathroom after I just showered. People with no situational awareness in crowds, in stores, or while driving. Story 3. Having wired earbuds yanked out of my ear because they got caught on something. I have not owned a pair in years because of the mood-destroying side effects. Story 4. People who sneeze or cough in public without covering their mouth or nose in my direction. What is wrong with you? Story 5. People are rude for no reason. I understand that everyone has bad days, but why take it out on someone else? Story 6. The one-upper guy always has a better version of your story. Me. I found $5. One-upper guy. Big deal. I found 10. Story 7. The fourth red light in a row where I am the first in line. 3 seconds earlier can make or break your commute. Story 8. Also, and this is really petty, people talking on the bus in the morning. Later in the day, go ahead, but in the morning, please be quiet. Story 9. When someone behind me in a queue tries to subtly inch up next to me as if they are trying to cut. Instant rage. Story 10. People say, actually, killer whales are not whales. They are dolphins, which are still whales. What point are you trying to make? Story 11. Negativity. I just cannot. We all have our days, but if this is all you are, negative, I am out. Life is just too short and already stressful. I like to be happy, cry in the shower, or talk to my dogs like a normal person. Story 12. Upspeak. People do it without noticing it. It shows me that they are insecure. I do not want to be a bully. I feel like they are trying to make fun of me. Story 13. Stepping in an invisible micropuddle right after putting on fresh socks. Congratulations, it is officially damp sock day and there is no recovering. Story 14. Incorrect grammar annoys me much more than it should. Every referenced, etc., or incorrect use of there, or they are makes me lose faith in humanity even more than I already have, even if just a tiny bit. Story 15. Someone tells me that I am speaking too loudly when I am excited about a topic. After that, I avoid speaking altogether. Cannot help it. I am not even aware that I am doing it, so I cannot actively work on fixing it. Story 16. When someone asks what is wrong or if I am in a bad mood, but I am actually happy and just have a resting neutral face. Story 17. Biting my tongue. It always ruins my mood, at least a little bit, no matter how happy I feel. It just hurts. Story 18. When I get up and ask if someone needs anything before I sit down, and they say no, I ask, are you sure? They say they are sure, and as soon as I get comfortable, they ask for something. Physical touch when I am not expecting it irks me to my core. Talking to me when I am clearly in the middle of something, and then continuing when I say hold on, also bothers me. Story 19. Someone talking about money for more than 2 minutes. Money is a means to an end for me. I understand there are others for whom money and everything it represents is both the means and the end. That mindset makes me physically sick, and I do everything I can to avoid being around people like that to protect my mental and physical health. Story 20. Forgetting something such as a wallet, phone, or charger, and immediately going back to fetch it on a busy day. Story 21. When it is dark and I go into my room, but my blinds are not closed. I am the one who is supposed to close them. Story 22. When the television remote is just out of reach, so you have to put effort into reaching for it. Story 23. When someone starts a friendly conversation about a topic and then ends it abruptly because they disagree with a minor point you made. Story 24. I am near Los Angeles. I would say one thing is traffic. I do not think any of us out here ever really get used to it. Story 25. When people, I don't know, shorten my name, like if it was Kimberly and they call me Kim, or Ashley and they call me Ash, or Samantha and call me Sam, people, I don't know, you cannot do that. Story 26. My boyfriend asked me how many guys hit on me today and if I liked any of them. It instantly pissed me off. Story 27. Looking around and seeing everyone on their phones no matter where you are. Doctor's office, line at grocery store, etc. Just rude. Story 28. Not having breakfast in the morning and going directly to lunch is something that bothers me all day. I will even be thinking about it all afternoon, and I will have 3 teas or coffees to compensate for it. Story 29. I was trying to cover my garden furniture earlier with bags before a storm hit. The wind kept blowing the bags around in a wild fashion, and I couldn't get them over the furniture. Story 30. I sound like a dictator saying this, but not following my instructions or suggestions slows down our momentum and invites chaos. I have a friend who does this constantly, as if she does not trust the efficiency of my vision. She quickly spoils my mood and then complains about it without ever acknowledging that her unnecessary and thoughtless actions are what killed the vibe. Story 31. Someone expressing flaky spiritualism to me. Like, do whatever makes you happy, I guess, but I find it triggering. It reminds me of how naive and groomed I was to be bait for predators. This just happened yesterday, and I am obviously still bothered by it. Story 32. Being talked over and encountering slow people in grocery stores who refuse to move out of the way is frustrating. I just want to get my items and leave quickly. Story 33. The urge to urinate or defecate mostly affects my focus for some reason. It makes me more easily distracted. Story 34. People who routinely say, "Cheer up," when you are just rolling with the punches or simply lost in your own thoughts. Story 35. People who say, "It's my way or the highway." You hear what they are saying, and it is incredibly backward and foolish. Story 36. My boyfriend irrationally snaps at minor traffic inconveniences. He does not have road rage beyond his words, but it does put me in a sour mood. Story 37. Hate for people based on political ideologies is unnecessary. We can disagree cordially, but I am not your enemy. Story 38. Being at a restaurant where loud music starts playing, making it almost impossible to have a conversation. Story 39. Last-minute plans, changes of plans, or not being able to make up their mind on a concrete plan. If I am in one of those rare good moods, I can go with the flow. But I need clarity in the details and at least a week to mentally prepare myself for this outing and make sure no other plans are in the way. Last-minute, kid-free plans are always a no. I have children and no childcare. I hate it sometimes, but I keep telling myself I will be able to when they are older. Story 40. People who constantly look at their Apple Watch when you are talking to them. I know it is notifications, not the old-school body language of checking the time to signal you need to wrap it up, but why must we have electronics now strapped to our bodies? Story 41. When I get time to talk with someone I genuinely like and someone interrupts, I become very angry. Story 42. A mosquito. I got really sick because of insects. I always think I am going to get a disease when mosquitoes are near me. Story 43. When I heat a meal in the microwave and some parts of the meal remain cold, it makes me instantly angry. Story 44. When people take too much time, such as leaving or staying, especially when it obviously inconveniences others. Story 45. If I am wearing socks and I step in a single molecule of water, I have to change my socks or my entire day is ruined. Story 46. My parents or siblings telling me to do chores when I am already in the mood and about to do them without being asked. Story 47. Shouting my name and then not replying when I ask why. Sometimes they only say, "Just come here," whenever I am doing something. Story 48. Whenever my wife thinks exactly the opposite of my intentions for doing a particular thing, it immediately ruins my mood. Story 49. As an entomologist, insect expert, or scientist, whenever someone tells me they are keeping honeybees expecting me to praise them, I do not. Story 50. People chewing loudly, people chewing gum, lip smacking, dry mouth, the sound of flip-flops, the sound of paper bags. I could go on. Misophonia. Story 51. I am not great at being aware of where my body is in space, so I knock things off or over on surfaces a lot, and it makes me very cranky. I always feel like an idiot and then get all upset. It is such a ridiculous reason, but I cannot help it. Story 52. Impeding the flow of traffic. People who constantly keep their foot on the brake. It is not a big deal, do not criticize it harshly. Story 53. My husband's random road rage. especially when we are on a date. Instantly makes me want to go back home. Story 54. People are smoking cigarettes outside the hospital doors. I work in a hospital, and it is illegal in the state to smoke on hospital campuses. I hate having to walk through clouds of smoke and smelling that unpleasant odor. If you have to smoke, please do it in your car. Story 55. I walked into work in a good mood, playful and animated. I received a disapproving look from a coworker. If someone is bothered by my good mood, I assume they prefer watching me suffer. People like that are unpleasant to be around. Story 56. I am a type 1 diabetic, and if I am cranky or acting slightly different than usual, someone saying, "Is your blood sugar level off?" drives me insane. Story 57. The last straw after surviving a long, difficult, trying day at work is trying to get into the house when your key does not fit into the lock properly and it falls. Story 58. When I am telling a story or the other person is telling a story, and then my voice or their voice cuts off on the phone, it feels disappointing. It is like being in the cinema, and when the movie reaches the good part, it freezes. Story 59. Bumping a part of my body, elbow, toe, or whatever, on something I am familiar with, like hitting your arm on a door frame you have been living with for years. Story 60. That type of fabric that is like cotton, but a really silky type of cotton. Always flexible and clings to your skin. I dislike that material. Story 61. When people say they will talk to my supervisor about a policy I enforced, if they are complaining, she probably already knows and you are just wasting everyone's time. Also, the more you argue, the less likely I am to help with it. Story 62. Anytime my grandmother makes me food, I eat it. Then she complains that I am gaining weight and that I should not be eating bread, but she is the one making my meals. Story 63. Won't someone do something to discipline my child while I stare vacantly into space? A child did this in a store where I was shopping. He ran around screaming while the mother ignored him. Then he ran full tilt into a display of glassware, which broke. He started crying, which caused the mother to suddenly wake up and start yelling at him. Story 64. My completely insane coworker when I worked at my data entry job. For reasons I still do not understand, she went into the system and put her initials next to every record I entered. I was baffled more than anything else since, first, I was new at the job and still made plenty of mistakes, and second, there was data in the records that indicated they were entered from the terminal in my cubicle, so it was not like she was fooling anybody. Story 65. Stubbing my toe or hitting my head on the side of the cabinet. I am not joking. I will drop whatever I am doing, get undressed, shower, and climb back into bed. There is no way I am claiming that energy today. Story 66. Hey, original poster. 49-year-old married father of 2 here. It's on Saturday and Sunday mornings if my wife is in the mood to elaborate every single thing that's on her mind that she wants to do at the weekend. Even though we have 2 kids and she knows full well that we can therefore only do 1 or at most 2 things on her list, she still insists on sharing an anxiety-inducing list of things. It is done in a slightly desperate and exasperated way that also sets my teeth on edge. Thankfully, my wife is a lovely woman with a great job, a brilliant sense of humor, and I can forgive her anything. Story 67. When people start talking about dietary information they read or have seen on Instagram and then debate that stuff. Nah, you know, mate, eggs are bad for you and milk is poison. Well, actually, it doesn't matter how many eggs. I would rather listen to discussions about the Middle East than listen to people who cannot spell biochemistry talk about nutrition. Story 68. Someone interrupting my thoughts while in hyperfocus, whether watching television, reading, or just thinking really hard, causes instant rage. Watch out. Story 69. People go to movies, rodeos, chuck wagons, and so on. That just talks through the whole event. Please be quiet. I want to hear the scores at the chuck wagons. Story 70. Also, traffic green means go. There is no need for 3 car lengths in between. Put your phone away and drive. Pay attention. Story 71. When I have a specific grocery list of meal prep recipes for the week and the grocery store is out of half or more of the ingredients, or what is left is mushy tomatoes or something that will spoil in a day, I have to change my entire menu plan. I don't have time to go to another store. I usually try to go to the market once a week, and after that, I don't feel like cooking at all. Story 72. I was at the gas station and saw 4 cheesy pepper jack tornadoes on the rollers. Naturally, I purchased them all. When I got in the car and started to eat them, I discovered they were all ranchero beef and cheese. Buying one thing and finding out it is something else instantly ruins my mood. I should have checked to make sure it was what the sign said it was. My hunger and eagerness for tornadoes blinded me to what I was doing. Story 73. Any thoughts about my boyfriend's past or our future? It is such a mystery, and I am the only one in the dark. Story 74. Reading about something online that I cannot do anything about legally, but that will affect me negatively. Story 75. Having low battery on both my phone and wireless earbuds is frustrating. I do not have 2 chargers, and I hate having to plan which device to charge first and for how long. Story 76. Customer saying inappropriate things at work or just speaking in general, maybe as far as just existing near me. Story 77. This may be a very simple thing, but when someone picks me up a drink or food from a place we typically go to, and it is not something I have ever ordered, I get the same exact thing from every place I go to. This does not make me angry, but it puts me in a rather sad mood. Story 78. Passive-aggressive comments, unpleasant remarks played off as innocent. Next, if I call them on it, they play the victim and gaslight. The neighbor is as bad as this and always has some insult. Story 79. Close people say they will do something but then do not for some reason. You have to understand the situation and be like, yeah, okay, another time, no problem. I hate that. I do understand the situation, but I cannot help feeling upset when something I was looking forward to does not happen. Story 80. When I am working on the couch and my computer is about to die, I have to go upstairs and get my charger. Story 81. When my charger falls just barely out of reach, I have to reevaluate every life decision that led to that moment. Story 82. People voicing their assumptions about others is not always negative, but profiling people or assuming someone is a certain way because of their looks or lifestyle can be unfair. People make many assumptions about me because I am a young woman on my own in the city, such as assuming my parents have money or that my friends are my age. It is a huge turnoff when people build profiles based solely on surface observations instead of asking simple questions. Story 83. Joggers who, for some reason, need to be 2 centimeters from me while passing. I stay to the right as much as possible, and I am not a big person. It is very irritating while I am walking. Story 84. A stranger sitting or standing very close to me feels uncomfortable. I need my own personal space. People eating while making chewing sounds is also unpleasant. I seriously deserve a medal for being able to control my anger in such situations. Additionally, people being late for any kind of appointments or plans is frustrating. Story 85. Someone reminding me of the realities of life. Bills, debt, emotional pain that never goes away, a constant sense of dread and impending doom, and a sense of isolation in a crowded room. Any, some, or all of the above, and I am back in the room. My day is not looking great from that point. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.